Hi, you guys. It's Yaz, and today I'm going to talk about why the narcissist always, or 99.9% of the time, always bounces back to their exes. A lot of times, you'll find out that the narcissist discarded you and they're back with their ex. So, the new supply is not something new. It's actually an old supply. It's their exes. The narcissist is still attached to their exes. But why do they usually always bounce back to their exes? Well, I'm going to give you 5 reasons why the narcissist usually always goes back to their exes. Number 1, they have a history with their ex, okay? When they have a history with their ex or they have children with their ex, the narcissist has a hard time letting go of that. Narcissists don't like abandonment. So they want to keep that person around because they have a history with them. Some of them may even have children with them. And it's just flat out easier to deal with somebody that they're used to, they know how to manipulate them, than to go out and get another supply and start from the ground up, okay? So narcissists love to take the path of least resistance. And a lot of times going back with their ex can be, less resistance because they know how to manipulate that ex. The other reason that narcissists bounce back to their exes is that their ex could still be trauma bonded to the narcissist, okay? Their ex is not able to let the narcissist go. They still, they may be somebody that feels, well, we've been together a long time. It's easier to just stay with them. Even if the ex knows the narcissist is toxic, they may just figure, well, nobody's perfect. It's easier to stay with them than to have to start all over again with somebody new. What's another reason why narcissists are able to bounce back to their exes? Because they never fully broke up with their ex. Narcissists a lot of times go on breaks with their exes. They say, I need a break, something like that. And then they start a new relationship with you. You're thinking they're single. When they're still involved with their exes, they're just on a break. See, narcissists, all they do is lie to everybody. So when a narcissist goes on a break, they're not just relaxing by themselves. They've always got to fill that emptiness, that gap when their ex is not around. So they'll start with new people. This is what they do. They start with new people and they're not fully broken up. They're still emotionally attached, or, they still are together with their ex, but they're on a break. And this is how narcissists play with people's feelings all the time. They may get involved with a new supply. They may be together for months and then all of a sudden dump that new supply and go back to their ex because they never, ever broke off with their exes. And the way you're going to know that is if the narcissist keeps talking about their ex a lot, either, in a positive way or even negatively. If they keep saying, oh, my ex was crazy, oh, my ex stalked me, if they are obsessed with talking about their exes, that's a red flag that narcissist may still be obsessed with their exes, all right? Narcissists have a hard time letting go of anything. And even their ex is like an old shoe that they just have a hard time letting go of them. So a narcissist, they love to bounce back to their exes because what a narcissist really wants is they want their cake and eat it too. So a narcissist may have been with their ex and they may have been living their secret lives. Their ex may have found out about it, and then their ex may have tried to let them go, but their ex is still trauma bonded to the narcissist. That's usually what the deal is. That the ex just keeps letting that narcissist back in because they're manipulated by the narcissist. They think that the narcissist is going to change because the narcissist comes back, keeps love bombing them, and the narcissist isn't. The narcissist is living the best of both worlds in the sense that they still have an ex who's trauma bonded to them, and then they're out there having a good time. So they have new supply, and then they bounce back to their exes. So you got to figure out, where were you in that narcissist life? Were you the new supply and then they discarded you and bounced back to their ex? Or are you the ex that just, thought that the narcissist was going on a break or something, or you broke up with them and you thought, and they came back and you didn't think they went with anybody? See, that's another thing too. Narcissists will come back after a break. Let's say you're the ex, the narcissist will come back and they'll lie. They'll sit there and tell you they were depressed, they weren't doing anything, they were working on themselves. Meanwhile, they had a whole host of other supply that you don't know about, but they come back and make like, oh, they just needed that time to themselves. They were going through something, okay? Oh, I was going through something. So narcissists, they're operators, they're networkers. So they're always going to, put everybody in a cycle. Everybody's part of the cycle. The ex is part of the cycle. The new supply is part of the cycle. And they're just going to bounce from one to the other, to the other, to the other, to the other. This is what they do. They love variety. They love something new. They love excitement. And people say to me, well, if they love something new, why do they keep going back to their exes? Because for a lot of reasons, you guys, they love to control their exes, all right? If their ex is still entertaining them, then they're still able to control that person. In other words, if their ex is still getting on the phone with them or still seeing them, then that narcissist still has control over that ex. And that's why that narcissist loves that. They love to know that that person cares, that they're still sweating them. They haven't shut that door completely. And even if an ex does shut the door completely, it's never over really with a narcissist 99% of the times, because the narcissist has a hard time letting go. So they may come back to their exes in a couple months. Some of them actually come back in a couple years. Now, I've had people say to me, I put out this reel yesterday where I talked about, will a narcissist discard somebody even if they don't have another supply? And in my opinion, and from my experience, a narcissist will never ever discard somebody unless they know they have somebody to monkey branch over to. A narcissist, one of their biggest fears is to be alone. So no matter how bad you are or their exes are, they'll never ever leave them unless they have somebody to jump off to, okay? So, and I had somebody get on the comment section on YouTube, and they said, well, my ex left me and they didn't have another supply. And here's what I have to say about that. How do you know they didn't have another supply? How do you really know they didn't have another supply? You wouldn't know whether that narcissist had another supply because they know how to hide it. So let me just say this. I guarantee you that narcissist, if they discarded you, they had another supply somewhere, because I've seen narcissists have really, really bad arguments with somebody and still hang in there and not leave the relationship. Even if they're exposed, everything, the narcissist will not jump off unless they know that somebody else is there in the wings. So they're talking to somebody, okay? That's a given. They're talking to somebody, and they always have, strings of people as options. So when she came back and she said on that comment, well, my narc didn't have somebody and they discarded me. In my opinion, I think you're wrong, okay? I think that your narc had somebody and you just didn't know it, okay? You just didn't know it, because a narcissist is never going to just walk away no matter what. Even if you have a big blowout fight, they're never going to just, or exposed or whatever, they're never going to just walk away and have nobody. Never, you guys, okay? Never. Matter of fact, they were probably talking to somebody the whole time they were with you, only you didn't know that because they were good at hiding it, all right? So, getting back on track here, all right? Narcissists love to bounce back to their exes because they're easy. They can't let them go. They have a history with them. Their ex is trauma bonded to the narcissist. They can't let them go. And the narcissist has never, ever broken up with the ex. All right. They may not, like I said, they may not have been broken up. See, it's really sad that narcissists go out there and they play with people's feelings and they don't care who gets hurt along the way, because a narcissist's main focus is supply, getting that supply. So if you get hurt, in their opinion, you did it to yourself because you didn't know the game. All right. But narcissists, usually when they discard people, you're going to find out that they're back with their exes. They're back with their exes. And like I said, a lot of times they were talking to their ex the whole time they were with you, only you didn't know. They may have been talking to them from work. They may have been seeing them and telling you, oh, I'm going to my mother's house. Or they may have ghosted on you or disappeared. But there was somebody from their past that they are still having a something to do with, okay? They're still seeing them, talking to them, while they're with you. And like I said, one of the clues is that they keep bringing up somebody's name. I always say this, when they keep bringing up somebody's name, that's a huge red flag that could be the person that they're having a situation, or they're still emotionally attached to or sexually attached to, so, you gotta be focused. You got to be focused, If you're with somebody, they keep bringing up their ex. Oh, my ex is this. But can't stop talking about them. You know that they're not done with them. You don't even touch that with a 10-foot pole. If somebody keeps bringing up their ex, talking about their ex, obsessed with their ex, even bad-mouthing their ex, don't even touch that person, because they're still not over their exes, all right? They're still not over their exes. And somebody said, well, if they don't emotionally attach to anybody, why would they be attached to their ex? Because it's a different kind of attachment than you're thinking. It's an attachment where they objectify. People are objects to the narcissist. They're not human beings with feelings. The narcissist is not emotionally attached to them. They are, it's like, it's not the same kind of emotional attachment where you get involved in a relationship and you can't let go of somebody because you're emotionally attached to the person. They're emotionally attached to what that narcissist does for them, all right? The supply that they offer. It could even be the attention their exes give them, or it could be money or sex or something like that. But narcissists, they like their exes because they don't want to let go of anything, all right? This way they don't have to let go of their ex. They can keep that because they're not really an ex, all right? They don't have to let go of them, and they could have their cake and eat it too, all right? So their ex may not even really be an ex. It's just they're telling you that. They're still in a relationship. But then they start with you, and they're calling them the ex, only they're not broken up from that person. Narcissists do this all the time. So now they have their cake and eat it too. They still have their ex that they could bounce back to, and they have you. And then when they get tired of you or something breaks down with you, you think they left you for their ex. Well, they were never done with their ex, and maybe they were still seeing their ex, and their ex wasn't the ex. You were the other woman or the other man, and you didn't realize it when you got involved with that narcissist. Okay? That's the sick thing about it, because narcissists are big liars, big manipulators, and they love, like I said, they just love to go back to their exes who are not necessarily their ex, because it's a matter of convenience. They don't want to let it go. They don't want to abandon anything. They're still getting a supply off that person. Why should they get rid of a supply if they don't have to get rid of a supply, but maybe they want something else? They have other, cravings or fetishes, and they want to fill it with somebody else, and that's you. That's you when you got involved with them. You were something new, something different, right? So, but they don't want to let go of the old toy, or, the ex who may not be an ex in their past. So they want the best of both worlds. How else can I explain this? They want the best of both worlds. But when push comes to shove, a lot of times they'll discard somebody new like you for their exes because they have a history with them, all right? And narcissists, they go back to where they have a history. And like I said, they could have children with them that may keep them more connected to the person their ex, if there's kids involved, and they just can't let go. They just possibly can't go. And then the other situation is they could have an ex that really is still, obsessed with the narcissist, who's still maybe even reaching out to the narcissist and everything and trying to get the narcissist back. This happens too. The narcissist may have an ex. They may have broken up with the ex, and the ex keeps reaching out to the narcissist because they're trauma bonded, and they're trying to get the ex back, and the ex is just stalling them. I mean, the narcissist is just stalling them because they want to see what happens with the new supplier, with you. And then when things don't turn out the way they thought, or they get bored with the new supply, then they go back to their exes, all right? So these are all the reasons why narcissists bounce back to their exes, or they never really let them go, okay? They are just the biggest time wasters. That's what a narcissist is. They're a big time waster. They waste their ex's time. They waste new people's time. They waste everybody's time. And here's the sad thing, you guys. They're laughing behind everybody's back. They're laughing behind everybody's back because they love the fact that they could play both sides. They just love it. It makes them feel superior, like their exes don't know what's going on, the new supply doesn't know what's going on, and they love it. They love to also pit them against each other where they're fighting each other. Oh my gosh, nothing's a bigger ego boost for a narcissist than to have two supply fighting over them. And they'll do that. They'll say things to their exes about what the new supply said about them, and then they'll say things to the new supply. Oh, my ex won't let me go. She's stalking me, or he's stalking me, and all this other shit, and it starts wars. It starts fights. They're ready. Some of them, in some situations, they're ready to fight each other. And it's all because the narcissist manipulated both sides. They just manipulated both sides. Here's what I have to say, too. I wanted to bring this up. Narcissists know when they're lying, okay? I see this all the time on the internet where a lot of people or influencers bring out and they say, the narcissist actually believes their lies. I have to clarify this. Narcissists, they know what a lie is. They know when they're lying to you, okay? It's not that they're delusional. They don't know that they're lying. They are very savvy in that way. When it comes to manipulation and it comes to lies, they know that they are lying. And how do you know that? Because they lie to some people and they don't lie to others, all right? They know who they can play with and who they can't. But they are not that delusional that they don't know that they're lying, okay? I'm telling you, that is the truth. But they justify their lies. That's the difference. A narcissist may lie to somebody, but they might justify them and say, well, I had to lie because of the way you got, all right? So they think it's okay to lie, but they do know that it is a lie. And there's a lot of misinformation where people try to, they talking about narcissism and they're sitting there and they're saying, oh, the narcissist is so delusional, they believe their lies. No, they don't. Okay. And I've seen them actually laugh about the fact that people think that they don't know what they're that think that the narcissist is so delusional that they don't realize. No, they don't. They know it's a lie. Okay. I'm telling you, they know it's a lie. I've had narcissists where I was like questioning whether I thought they knew that they were lying. And then later on, towards the breakdown of the relationship, I actually got in a middle admission rather, where they said, I know I lied to you. I know. They know. Okay. So you guys, don't be fooled by that. Don't think that, narcissists, they believe their lies. They don't believe their lies. But what they do is they justify their lies. They think it's okay to lie. All right. That's the difference. And that's the difference between somebody who really knows the narcissist and somebody who doesn't. Because a lot of people out there preaching about narcissism don't really know the inside of that narcissist. And they think that narcissists are that delusional that they believe their lies. No, they know it's a lie. They know it's a lie. They want you to think that they don't know it's a lie. They want to fool you. All right. Understand this. Narcissists are very cunning. All right. They're very clever in that way. So a lot of times they play dumb and they pretend like they believe that lie is a truth when they know. They listen to me when I tell you, okay? Because I've dealt with so many my whole life. They know it's a lie. Okay. And anybody who sits there and tells you that narcissists are so delusional, they don't, they believe their lies, doesn't really know the narcissist. Then the narcissist has fooled them to believe that. Okay. Because that is not true. These narcissists know, they know. But like I said, they justify it because they feel they have to. It's a survival. It's a survival. They had to lie to you in order to survive and be able to get that supply. All right. So I just had to add that in to clarify for people because I want you to understand that narcissists are a lot more clever in that way than you think they are. Okay. And that they actually laugh behind people's backs because they think they're so slick. They think they're so smart that you actually think that they're that delusional when they're not, and they know what they're doing, okay? So trust me when I tell you, they're not stupid in that way, and they know. So don't ever let these people tell you different, all right? So that's it, you guys. The bottom line is stay away from these narcissists, and especially a narcissist who keeps bringing up their ex, all right? Have a great day. If you're looking for confidential one-on-one phone coaching, check out the link in the bio at askyaz.wixsite.com/thegameexposed. If you're confused, you don't know if you're dealing with a narcissist, you need clarity, you need advice on how to deal with this person, check it out, you guys, at the link in the bio, askyaz.wixsite.com/thegameexposed. For all my videos, I have over 6,000. Check out YouTube. I lay it down all on YouTube at the Game Exposed podcast on YouTube. TikTok is The Game Exposed, you guys. And Instagram, The Game EXP123. And Facebook, for right now, is The Game EXP777. And you guys have a great day.